Marcus Chen wiped the sweat from his forehead as he finished installing the last water purification unit in the refugee camp. 3 months had passed since the Zephyrian attack on the outer colonies, and the survivors were still struggling to rebuild their lives on this barren moon called Haven 7. The camp stretched across the rocky terrain like a metal maze of temporary shelters and supply containers. Humans, Corvani bird people, and various other species worked together, sharing resources and knowledge. Marcus had volunteered to help because he knew what it felt like to lose everything. His own family had died in a transport accident years ago, leaving him alone in the universe. A soft whimpering sound caught his attention. Behind a stack of supply crates, he found 2 small figures huddled together. They looked almost human, but their skin had a faint blue tint, and their eyes were larger than normal, with flecks of silver that seemed to glow in the dim light. The older child, maybe 6 years old, held the younger one protectively. Both were covered in dirt and looked like they hadn't eaten in days. Their clothes were torn and too big for their small frames. "Hey there," Marcus said gently, crouching down to their level. "Are you okay?" The older child flinched but didn't run. Instead, they spoke in broken standard. "Please, no hurt us, we good children." Marcus felt his heart break. These kids were terrified and alone, just like he had been after losing his family. He reached into his supply pack and pulled out 2 nutrition bars. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said softly. "My name is Marcus." "What are your names?" The older child hesitated, then whispered, "I am Kira. This is my brother Jax. He is only 4 cycles old." Marcus noticed they didn't use human age terms, but the meaning was clear. These were just babies, really, trying to survive in a harsh world. "Where are your parents?" Marcus asked carefully. Kira's silver-flecked eyes filled with tears. Mama gone. Bad ships came. Fire everywhere. Mama told us to run and hide." The story was too familiar. Another family destroyed by the endless wars that plagued the galaxy. Marcus had seen too many orphaned children in his years working with refugee organizations. But something about these 2 touched him deeply. "Are you hungry?" he asked. Both children nodded eagerly. Marcus opened the nutrition bars and handed them over. Jax, the little one, immediately started eating, but Kira watched Marcus suspiciously while she chewed. "What species are you?" Marcus asked gently. "I want to help, but I need to understand your needs." Kira swallowed her food and looked uncertain. "Mama said we are special, not like others. She said never tell anyone what we really are." Marcus nodded. "Your secret is safe with me, but I need to know if you have any special dietary needs or health requirements." "We eat same as humans," Kira said quietly. "Mama always said we were like humans, just different." Over the next hour, Marcus learned more about the children. They had been hiding in the camp for weeks, scavenging food and sleeping in abandoned corners. No one had noticed them because they were good at staying invisible. "You can't keep living like this," Marcus said finally. "It's dangerous. You need proper shelter and regular meals." "No," Kira said quickly. "No orphan center." "Mama said never go to orphan center. Bad people look for children like us there." Marcus frowned. What made these children so special that someone would hunt them? They seemed like normal kids, just with slightly different features. "Okay, no orphan center," he agreed. "But you can't stay here alone either." He made a decision that would change his life forever. "How about you stay with me? I have a small shelter unit. It's not much, but it's warm and safe." Both children stared at him with wide eyes. Jax tugged on Kira's sleeve and whispered something in a language Marcus didn't recognize. Kira translated. "He asks if you're going to be our new papa." The word hit Marcus like a physical blow. Papa, Dad, Father. All the things he thought he'd never be again. I don't know," Marcus said honestly, "but I promise I'll take care of you both. You don't have to be alone anymore." Kira studied his face for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "Okay, we trust you, Papa Marcus," and just like that, Marcus Chen went from being a lonely relief worker to being responsible for 2 mysterious alien children, who had already started calling him Dad. As they walked toward his shelter, Marcus noticed other refugees watching them with curious expressions. Some smiled at the sight of the children, but others looked worried or suspicious. He made a mental note to be careful about who he trusted with information about Kira and Jax. That night, as the children slept on makeshift beds in his tiny shelter, Marcus stared at the ceiling and wondered what he had gotten himself into. He had no idea how to be a father, especially to alien children with mysterious backgrounds. But when little Jax rolled over in his sleep and mumbled, "Papa," with a smile on his face, Marcus knew he had made the right choice. Whatever secrets these children carried, whatever dangers they might face, he would protect them. He just hoped he would be strong enough for whatever was coming. Living with Kira and Jax turned out to be both wonderful and challenging. After 2 weeks together, Marcus had learned that Kira was incredibly smart, picking up new languages and concepts faster than any child he had ever met. Jax was quieter but had an amazing ability to sense people's emotions and intentions. The morning started like any other. Marcus was preparing breakfast when Kira approached him with a serious expression on her young face. "Papa, Marcus," she said carefully, "I need to tell you something important about us." Marcus set down the protein packets and gave her his full attention. "What is it, sweetheart?" Kira glanced at Jax, who was playing with a small mechanical toy Marcus had found for him. The little boy looked up and nodded encouragingly at his sister. "We are not just different on outside," Kira began. "We are different inside too. Our minds, they work different than human minds." "Different how?" Marcus asked gently. Kira struggled to find the right words. "Sometimes I know things I should not know. Like yesterday when Dr. Helena was coming to check on sick people in Shelter 7. I knew she was coming before anyone told me." Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. "You mean you can predict the future?" "Not future," Kira said quickly. "More like, I can feel what is happening nearby, and sometimes I can understand what people are thinking, even when they do not speak." Jax abandoned his toy and walked over to them. In his small voice, he added, "I can make people feel better when they are sad. Not with words, just with thinking at them." Marcus sat down heavily on his cot. These children weren't just physically different from humans. They had abilities that sounded like telepathy and empathy manipulation. No wonder their mother had told them to hide what they were. "Has anyone else noticed these abilities?" Marcus asked. "We try to hide them," Kira said. "Mama taught us how to keep our thoughts quiet and not use the feelings touch unless someone really needs help. But it is getting harder," Jax admitted. "There are so many hurt people here and I want to help them all." Marcus understood now why someone might hunt these children. Telepathic abilities were incredibly rare in the galaxy, and governments would pay huge amounts to study or control beings with such powers. "Okay," he said finally. "We need to be extra careful about who we trust. Can you teach me how to recognize when you're using your abilities?" Kira brightened. "Yes. And Papa Marcus, there is something else. We think there might be more children like us." "What do you mean?" "In the camp," Jax said excitedly. "Sometimes I feel thoughts that are like ours but not ours. Like other minds that work the same way." Marcus felt both hope and worry. More children with these abilities meant Kira and Jax wouldn't be alone, but it also meant greater danger if the wrong people discovered them. Over the next few days, Marcus watched the children more carefully. He noticed that Kira often knew when the food deliveries were coming before any announcements were made. She could also tell when someone was lying, or when they had bad intentions. Jax's empathic abilities were even more obvious once Marcus knew what to look for. The little boy would unconsciously comfort crying refugees by just being near them. People seemed to feel calmer and more hopeful after spending time with him. The breakthrough came when Kira approached Marcus one evening with unusual excitement. "Papa Marcus, we found them. The other children like us." "Where?" Marcus asked immediately. "Shelter Block C, Section 12. There are 3 of them all hiding together. They have been too scared to come out during the day." "How do you know they're like you?" Jax bounced on his toes. "We talked to them. Not with words, but with mind talking. They were so happy to find us." Marcus felt a mixture of joy and terror. 6 telepathic children in 1 refugee camp was a recipe for disaster if discovered by the wrong people. "We have to be very careful," he warned. "Can these other children control their abilities like you can?" Kira nodded. "Yes, their mama taught them too before the bad ships came." "Are they willing to meet me?" "They want to," Kira said. "But they are scared. They have been alone for longer than us." That night, Marcus followed Kira and Jax through the quiet camp to Shelter Block C. The area was less populated, filled mostly with damaged supply containers and abandoned equipment. In a hidden space between 2 large containers, Marcus found 3 more children. 2 girls who looked like they might be twins, around 8 years old, and a boy who couldn't be older than 5. They all had the same slightly blue-tinted skin and silver-flecked eyes as Kira and Jax. The children huddled together fearfully when they saw Marcus. But Kira spoke to them in rapid whispers, and gradually they relaxed. "This is Papa Marcus," Kira told them. "He takes care of us now. He is good and kind." One of the twin girls spoke in a voice barely above a whisper. "Are you really not afraid of us?" Marcus knelt down to their level. "Why would I be afraid of you?" "Because we are different," the other twin said. "Because we can do things that normal people cannot do." "Different doesn't mean scary," Marcus said firmly. "It just means special, and everyone deserves to be cared for no matter how special they are." The little boy stepped forward boldly. "Can we call you Papa Marcus too?" Marcus felt his heart swell. "If you want to, yes." Within an hour, Marcus found himself responsible for 5 telepathic alien children. As they walked back to his shelter, he realized he would need a much bigger living space and a lot more supplies. But more importantly, he needed a plan to keep them all safe. Because if 5 of these children had survived the attacks on the outer colonies, there was no telling how many more might be out there, alone and afraid. And Marcus was starting to suspect that whoever had attacked the colonies might have been specifically hunting for children exactly like the ones now calling him Dad. Marcus spent sleepless nights figuring out how to house and feed 5 children without drawing attention to their unique nature. He managed to requisition a larger family shelter unit by claiming he was caring for war orphans, which wasn't technically a lie. The twins introduced themselves as Zara and Vera. The youngest boy was named Kai. All 3 had lost their families during the same attacks that had separated Kira and Jax from their mother. As the days passed, Marcus learned more about their abilities. Each child had slightly different telepathic strengths. Kira was best at reading surface thoughts and sensing immediate future events. Jax could influence emotions and heal psychological trauma. Zara could communicate over long distances with other telepaths. Vera could create mental shields to protect against psychic intrusion. Little Kai had the most raw power but the least control, sometimes accidentally broadcasting his thoughts to anyone sensitive enough to receive them. The children worked together to teach Marcus basic mental shielding techniques. It was frustrating at first, but gradually he learned to keep his thoughts more private around them. "Good, Papa Marcus," Kira said encouragingly. "Now your mind feels quiet and safe like Mama taught us. What exactly did your mothers teach you about your abilities?" Marcus asked during one of their evening lessons. The children exchanged meaningful looks. Zara spoke first. "Mama said we were the children of 2 worlds, that our father's people and our mother's people were very different, but their love created something new. She said we were bridges," Vera added, "that someday we would help 2 great peoples understand each other. But she also said there were those who would fear us," Kai said sadly. "People who think bridges should be destroyed instead of celebrated." Marcus felt pieces of a larger puzzle clicking into place. These children were hybrids, the offspring of 2 different species. Their telepathic abilities came from this unique genetic combination. "Did your mothers ever mention what species your fathers were from?" Marcus asked carefully. "Mama said Papa was from the star-touched people," Jack said. "The ones who think with light instead of chemicals." Marcus nearly choked on his water. The star-touched people, that was an old human term for the ethereals, one of the most advanced and mysterious species in the known galaxy. They were pure energy beings who rarely interacted with physical species, and when they did, it was usually through technological intermediaries. The idea that an ethereal could reproduce with any physical species was considered impossible by galactic science. Yet here were 5 living children who proved otherwise. "Papa Marcus, you look scared," Kira observed. "Did we say something wrong?" "No, sweetheart. I'm not scared of you. I'm scared for you." Marcus pulled all 5 children close. "What you've told me explains why some people might be hunting children like you. Your very existence proves something that most of the galaxy thinks is impossible." Over the following week, Marcus noticed increased security around the refugee camp. New guards appeared, asking questions about unregistered children and unusual abilities among the refugees. The children sensed the danger before Marcus even saw it. "Bad people are coming," Vera whispered during breakfast. "They have machines that hurt our minds when they try to look for us. Psychic dampeners," Marcus realized. "They're scanning for telepathic signatures." Kira grabbed his arm urgently. "Papa Marcus, we have to leave tonight. They will find us if we stay." "Where can we go?" Marcus asked. "This whole system is controlled by the Terran Federation. If they're the ones hunting you, nowhere will be safe. Mama left us something, Zara said quietly. A message crystal. She said to only use it if we found someone we really trusted. The twins led Marcus to a hiding spot where they had buried a small crystalline device. When Vera touched it, the crystal projected a holographic image of a beautiful woman with the same blue-tinted skin and silver eyes as the children. My precious children, the hologram spoke in a melodic voice. If you are seeing this message, it means I am gone, and you have found someone worthy of trust. The crystal contains coordinates to a safe place where others like us are hiding. Show this message to your protector and follow the path I have laid out for you. The hologram turned to address Marcus directly. Guardian of my children, I am Lyrian of the Moon Whisper clan. If my little ones trust you enough to share this message, then you have proven yourself worthy of the truth. They are not just hybrids of Moon Whisper and ethereal bloodlines. They are the fulfillment of an ancient prophecy, the first generation of a new kind of being that will unite the galaxy's scattered peoples. Marcus felt the weight of destiny settling on his shoulders like a heavy cloak. But there are those who would destroy this future before it can bloom, Lyrian continued. The Zephyrian Empire sees the children as a threat to their plans for galactic domination. They believe that telepathic hybrids will inspire other species to unite against them. They attack the colonies not for territory, but to eliminate every child like mine. The message continued with detailed coordinates and instructions for reaching a hidden sanctuary, called Haven's End, located in an uncharted system beyond the galactic rim. The journey will be dangerous, Lyrian warned. But at Haven's End, you will find not only safety but answers. You will learn why these children are so important, and why the future of every thinking being in the galaxy may depend on their survival. The hologram faded, leaving Marcus and the children staring at the empty air. So, Marcus said after a long silence, it looks like we're going on a trip. Will you really take us there? Kira asked hopefully, even though it means leaving everything behind. Marcus looked at the 5 small faces turned up toward him with absolute trust. 3 months ago, he had been a lonely relief worker with no family and no future. Now he was responsible for 5 extraordinary children who might hold the key to galactic peace. Of course I'll take you, he said firmly. Family sticks together no matter what. That night, as sirens began wailing in the distance and search teams moved through the camp, Marcus and the children slipped away into the darkness, beginning a journey that would take them to the very edge of known space and into the heart of a conflict that had been building for generations. Stealing a ship turned out to be easier than Marcus expected, thanks to the children's abilities. Kira could sense which security guards were distracted or asleep. Vera created mental static that made people forget they had seen anything unusual. Jax calmed the emotions of anyone who might become suspicious. They managed to borrow a small cargo freighter called the Stellar Wanderer from the camp's emergency fleet. Marcus justified the theft by telling himself they would return it once the children were safe. The journey to Haven's End took 2 weeks through hyperspace. During the long hours of travel, Marcus learned more about each child's personality and dreams. Kira wanted to be a diplomat someday, helping different species understand each other. Jax dreamed of becoming a healer who could cure both physical and emotional pain. Zara hoped to explore distant galaxies and make contact with unknown civilizations. Vera wanted to build schools where children of all species could learn together. Little Kai simply wanted to find other children to play with who wouldn't be scared of his abilities. Papa Marcus, Kira asked one evening as they sat in the ship's common area, do you think our real fathers know about us? The question caught Marcus off guard. What do you mean? The ethereal ones, Jax explained. Do you think they know their children are in danger? Marcus considered carefully. I don't know much about ethereal reproduction or family structures, but if they're anything like humans, a father would want to protect his children. Maybe that's why we're going to Haven's End, Vera suggested. Maybe our fathers are waiting for us there. Or maybe, Zara added with 8-year-old wisdom, our real father is right here, the one who chose to love us and take care of us. Marcus felt tears stinging his eyes. These children had been through so much trauma and loss, yet they still believed in love and hope. They had made him feel like a real father in ways he never thought possible. When they finally arrived at the coordinates from Lyrian's message, Marcus expected to find another barren moon or asteroid base. Instead, they discovered something incredible. Haven's End was a massive space station hidden inside a nebula. But this wasn't any ordinary station. It was a living city, with gardens and parks visible through transparent sections of the hull. Bioluminescent vines grew along the exterior walls, pulsing with soft blue and green light. "It's beautiful," Kai whispered, pressing his face against the viewport. As they approached, their communication system activated with an incoming message. A warm voice speaking accented standard greeted them. "Stellar Wanderer, you are cleared for Docking Bay 7. Welcome to Haven's End. The children are excited to meet you." The children? Marcus felt a surge of hope and nervous anticipation. Docking Bay 7 was unlike any spaceport Marcus had ever seen. The walls were covered with flowering vines, and small streams of clean water ran through channels in the floor. The air smelled like spring rain and growing things. A delegation was waiting for them as they disembarked. Marcus saw immediately that every person in the group had the same blue-tinted skin and silver-flecked eyes as his children. There were adults of various ages, teenagers, and most importantly, dozens of children. At the front of the group stood a tall woman with kind eyes and premature silver streaking her dark hair. She stepped forward with a gentle smile. "I am Elena Starweaver, Administrator of Haven's End. You must be Marcus Chen, and these are Lyrian's children." Before Marcus could respond, his 5 kids ran forward, instantly accepted by the group of waiting children. Within moments, they were chattering excitedly with others their own age, finally able to use their telepathic abilities freely without fear. "How many?" Marcus asked Elena quietly. "How many children like them are here?" 147 so far, Elena replied. "All survivors of the Zephyrian attacks, all children of Moonwhisper mothers and ethereal fathers, and all saved by guardians like you who chose love over fear." Marcus looked around in amazement. There were humans, Corvani, even some species he didn't recognize, all caring for hybrid children who weren't biologically theirs. "The prophecy spoke of bridges," Elena continued, "but it wasn't just about the children being bridges between species. It was about the bonds of chosen family that would form around them. Every guardian here has become part of something larger than themselves." She led Marcus through the station, showing him hydroponic farms, schools, workshops, and living areas designed for multi-species families. Everything was built to accommodate both the children's special needs and the diverse requirements of their guardians. "But the most amazing thing," Elena said as they walked, "is what happens when the children reach adolescence. Their abilities mature and they become capable of something unprecedented." They stopped at an observation deck where Marcus could see a group of teenage hybrids working together. The teens stood in a circle holding hands, their eyes closed in concentration. Above them, a complex holographic display showed star maps and data streams. "They can link their minds across vast distances," Elena explained. "These teenagers are currently communicating with hybrid children in 12 other hidden sanctuaries throughout the galaxy. They're creating a network of understanding that spans thousands of light years." Marcus watched in awe as the teenagers opened their eyes and began discussing what they had learned. They were coordinating rescue missions for other lost children, sharing scientific discoveries, and planning for a future where their abilities could benefit everyone. "The Zephyrians were right to be afraid," Elena said quietly. "Not because the children are dangerous, but because they represent hope for a galaxy united by empathy instead of divided by fear." "What happens next?" Marcus asked. "Do we stay here forever?" Elena smiled. "That depends on you and the children. Some families choose to remain at Haven's End, helping to build our community. Others take on missions to rescue more children or establish new sanctuaries. And some, when the time is right, return to regular space to begin the work of bringing the galaxy together." That night, as Marcus tucked his 5 children into beds in their new temporary quarters, Kira looked up at him with serious eyes. "Papa Marcus, do you know what the best part of today was?" "What's that, sweetheart?" "Seeing that we're not alone anymore. That there are others like us and others like you who choose to love instead of fear," Jack sleepily added, "and knowing that our real mama would be proud of the papa we found." As Marcus turned off the lights, he realized that his journey was far from over. He had brought his children to safety, but now they all faced a choice. Would they hide from the galaxy's conflicts, or would they step forward to help build the future that these extraordinary children represented? Either way, they would face it together as a family. Life at Haven's End settled into a comfortable routine over the following months. Marcus found himself working in the sanctuary's communication center, helping coordinate rescue missions for other hybrid children scattered across the galaxy. His engineering background proved valuable in maintaining the sophisticated equipment that kept their hidden station operational. The children thrived in their new environment. They attended classes with others who shared their abilities, learned to control and develop their telepathic gifts, and most importantly, experienced the joy of belonging to a community that understood them. But it was during a routine rescue mission briefing that Marcus learned the truth that would change everything. Elena gathered the adult guardians in the main conference room to discuss a distress signal they had received from the Kepler sector. Apparently, a group of hybrid children was trapped on a Zephyrian prison ship, and the rescue would require careful planning. The intelligence we've gathered suggests there are at least 20 children aboard the vessel, Elena reported, but there's something unusual about this situation. She activated a holographic display showing the prison ship's schematics. Our telepathic scouts have managed to make contact with one of the prisoners. It's not just hybrid children on board. There's an adult Moon Whisper female who claims to be their coordinator. Marcus felt his heart skip a beat. Coordinator? Someone who was helping organize the evacuation of hybrid children when the Zephyrians attacked, Elena explained. But here's what's interesting. This woman has specifically requested to speak with the guardian of Kira and Jax. She says she has information that only their protector needs to hear. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Marcus, who felt a cold sense of foreboding creeping up his spine. Did she give a name? He asked quietly. Elena nodded, her expression serious. She calls herself Lyrian of the Moon Whisper clan. The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. Lyrian, the woman from the holographic message. The children's mother, who they all believed was dead. That's impossible, Marcus whispered. The children saw their mother die. They watched her ship explode. The woman claims she staged her death to protect the children, Elena said carefully. She says it was the only way to ensure they would be taken to safety without being hunted. Marcus felt the world spinning around him. If Lyrian was alive, if she had been captured while trying to save other children, then everything he thought he knew was wrong. I need to speak with Kira and Jax, he said, standing abruptly. Marcus, wait, Elena called after him. Think carefully about how you tell them. They've been through so much loss already. But Marcus was already hurrying through the corridors toward the children's quarters, his mind reeling with implications. If their mother was alive, would the children still want him as their father? Had he been just a temporary guardian, a placeholder until their real parent could return? He found all 5 children in the common area of their family quarters, working together on a school project about galactic history. They looked up with bright smiles when he entered, but their expressions quickly changed to concern when they sensed his emotional turmoil. Papa Marcus, what's wrong? Kira asked immediately. Marcus sat down heavily and gathered them close. There was no easy way to say this. I just learned something that's going to be difficult to hear, he began. We've received word about a Zephyrian prison ship. There are hybrid children on board who need rescue. That's good news, Vera said. We can help them like Elena helped us. Yes, but Marcus took a deep breath. There's also an adult Moon Whisper woman on the ship. She claims to be someone we know, someone you thought was dead. Kira's eyes went wide. Mama? She says her name is Lyrian. She says she staged her death to protect you. The room erupted into chaos. Jax burst into tears, Vera and Zara grabbed each other's hands, and little Kai just stared in shocked silence. But it was Kira's reaction that broke Marcus's heart. She left us, Kira said in a small, hurt voice. She made us think she was dead and left us all alone. Sweetheart, if it's really her, she probably thought she was protecting you, Marcus said gently. No. Kira stood up, her silver eyes blazing with anger and pain. We suffered. We were scared and hungry and alone. We thought we were orphans. How could leaving us be protection? Jax wiped his eyes and looked up at Marcus with heartbreaking trust. Papa Marcus, if our first mama is alive, does that mean you're not our papa anymore? The question pierced Marcus to his core. Oh, Jax, no matter what happens, I will always be your papa. Nothing can change that. Promise? Little Kai whispered. Promise, Marcus said firmly. Over the next few hours, as the children processed the shocking news, Marcus found himself struggling with his own emotions. Part of him was overjoyed that their birth mother might be alive. Part of him was terrified of losing the children who had become his whole world. Elena found him later that evening, sitting alone on an observation deck and staring out at the nebulous swirling colors. "The rescue mission leaves tomorrow," she said, sitting beside him. "You don't have to go, you know. We can handle it without you." "I have to go," Marcus replied. "If it really is Lyrian, I need to face her. I need to understand why she let her children believe she was dead. And if she wants to take them back." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. "Then I'll fight for them. Not in court or through legal means, but I'll show her that they need both of us. They've been through too much to lose another parent. What if she doesn't see it that way? Then she'll learn something about human determination," Marcus said with quiet steel in his voice. "I may not have given them life, but I chose them. I became their father through love and sacrifice. That has to count for something." The next morning, as the rescue ship prepared to depart, all 5 children insisted on going with Marcus. After much debate, Elena agreed, reasoning that their telepathic abilities might be crucial for locating and communicating with the prisoners. As they entered hyperspace toward the Kepler sector, Marcus held his children close and prepared for the most important confrontation of his life. He was about to meet the woman who had given birth to his children, who had shaped their early years and who might want to reclaim them. But whatever happened, Marcus was determined to prove that family wasn't just about blood or species or telepathic bonds. Sometimes family was about the choice to love unconditionally, even when the galaxy tried to tear you apart, and he would fight for his children with everything he had. The rescue operation went flawlessly, thanks to the children's combined telepathic abilities. They disabled the prison ship's psychic dampeners from the inside, while Marcus and the rescue team breached the hull. Within an hour, they had freed 23 hybrid children and secured the ship. But when Marcus finally came face to face with Lyrian of the Moonwhisper clan, he was unprepared for what he found. The woman from the holographic message had been beautiful and serene. The person huddled in the prison cell was broken, scarred, and haunted. Her blue skin was marked with Zephyrian torture devices, and her silver eyes held a depth of pain that made Marcus's heart ache. "Mama," Kira whispered, her anger forgotten in the face of her mother's obvious suffering. Lyrian looked up slowly, and when she saw her children, tears began flowing down her cheeks. "My little stars," she breathed. "You grew so much. You're so beautiful and strong." Jax ran forward without hesitation and threw his small arms around his mother. His empathic abilities immediately went to work, and Marcus could see some of the tension leave Lyrian's body as her son shared his healing energy with her. "Why did you leave us?" Kira asked, her voice breaking. "Why did you make us think you were dead?" Lyrian reached out with trembling hands to touch Kira's face. "Because it was the only way to save you all. The Zephyrians were tracking me specifically. As long as they thought I was dead, they would stop hunting you so intensely. But we were alone and scared," Vera said, tears in her eyes. "I know, my precious one. I know." Lyrian looked past her children to Marcus, and her expression filled with wonder and gratitude. "But you weren't alone, were you? You found someone who chose to love you." Marcus stepped forward, uncertain what to say. This woman had sacrificed everything to protect not just her own children, but dozens of others. She had endured torture and imprisonment to keep them safe. "You must be Marcus Chen," Lyrian said softly. "Kira, show me." Kira nodded and gently touched her mother's hand. Marcus watched in amazement as memories flowed between them. Months of experiences shared in seconds through their telepathic bond. He saw his own actions replayed through Kira's perspective. Every moment of care, protection, and love he had given the children. When the sharing ended, Lyrian was crying again. But these were tears of joy. "Thank you," she whispered to Marcus. "Thank you for becoming their father when I couldn't be their mother." "They became my children the moment they called me Papa," Marcus replied. "Nothing will change that." Lyrian smiled through her tears. "Good, because they're going to need both of us for what comes next." Back at Haven's End, as Lyrian recovered from her ordeal, Marcus learned the full scope of what the hybrid children represented. The ethereal fathers hadn't abandoned their offspring. They had been watching, waiting for the children to reach the right age and level of development. The ethereals exist partially outside normal space-time. Lyrian explained during a family dinner that included both parents and all 5 children. They can perceive possible futures in ways we cannot. They knew this conflict was coming, and they knew their hybrid children would be crucial to ending it. "How?" Marcus asked. The teenagers you saw networking with other sanctuaries, Lyrian continued, that's just the beginning. When hybrid children reach full maturity, they can create telepathic links that span not just physical distance, but dimensional barriers. They can connect the thoughts and emotions of beings across the entire galaxy. Little Kai looked up from his meal with wide eyes. You mean we can make everyone in the galaxy be friends? Something like that. Lyrian laughed, the first genuine laugh Marcus had heard from her. You can help every thinking being understand what it feels like to be someone else. Fear and hatred become much harder when you truly empathize with those you once saw as enemies. The implications were staggering. The hybrid children weren't just bridges between species. They were the key to ending conflict itself by making it impossible for sentient beings to dehumanize each other. But the Zephyrians figured this out, Marcus realized. That's why they're trying to eliminate the children. Yes, Lyrian confirmed. Their empire depends on keeping various species afraid and divided. A galaxy united by empathy would be the end of their power. Over the following weeks, Marcus watched Lyrian slowly heal from her trauma, supported by the love of her children and the growing friendship she developed with their adoptive father. Far from trying to reclaim exclusive parental rights, she insisted that Marcus was as much their father as she was their mother. Family isn't about biology, she told him one evening, as they watched the children play with their friends. It's about choice, sacrifice, and love. You chose them when you could have walked away. You sacrificed your old life to protect them, and you love them as fiercely as any biological parent could. So do you, Marcus replied. Yes, but I gave birth to them. You became their father purely through the strength of your heart. That makes you even more their parent than I am. The children, of course, had their own opinion on the matter. During their nightly family meeting, Jax climbed onto Marcus's lap, while Kira snuggled against Lyrian's side. We have the best family in the galaxy, Jax announced with 4-year-old certainty. 2 papas and 1 mama. 2 papas? Marcus asked, confused. Ethereal Papa gave us our special minds, Kira explained patiently. Mama gave us our hearts, and Papa Marcus gave us his love and protection. That makes 3 parents. Plus all our guardian aunts and uncles here at Haven's End, Vera added. And our rescue mission family, Zara chimed in. Little Kai nodded seriously. We're not just bridges between species. We're proof that families can be as big and wonderful as you want them to be. As Marcus held his son and watched his extraordinary family, he realized that the children had taught him something profound. Love wasn't diminished by being shared. It multiplied. The more people who chose to care for these special children, the stronger and safer they all became, and someday, when the hybrid children were ready to share their gift with the galaxy, they would carry that lesson with them. They would show every sentient being that connection was stronger than separation, that understanding was more powerful than fear, and that the choice to love could transform not just individuals, but entire civilizations. The Zephyrian Empire was right to be afraid, not of the children's power, but of their love, because in the end, love was the most revolutionary force in the universe. Marcus Chen, former relief worker and current father of 5 telepathic miracles, couldn't wait to see what his children would accomplish when they grew up to change the galaxy forever.